Coming up on the Charge on Air. Protests against ICE have come to UCF.
Plus, a winter blast is on the way. What highway officials want you to do before you hit the road.
You like jazz? UCF's jazz program held its first jazz chamber concert of 2026.
In sports, the Cardiac Knights strike again. How UCF's men's basketball team's thrilling win over Arizona State impacts postseason opportunities.
The Charge on Air starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to the Charge on Air. I'm Nick Cohen.
And I'm Shane Winsten. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026.
Since early December 2025, protests against ICE have intensified around the country. Circumstances escalated after 2 American citizens were shot and killed by federal agents at protests in Minnesota. I had the chance to speak with 2 members of the UCF community who weighed in on the matter. Federal ICE agents have taken undocumented immigrants in the U.S. into custody, but at what cost? In January, federal agents shot and killed Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. All over the country, protests are taking place.
It's a very tense situation, particularly in these democratic states that have a lot of residents, including some local officials, mayors and governors in some cases, who just don't agree with Trump's policy. So there have been protests. In some cases peaceful, in some cases violence has broken out.
To Dr. Jewett's point, UCF students have exercised their First Amendment right to protest against ICE. Knights gathered here outside Milliken Hall where President Cartwright's office is. Non-political UCF RSOs, like the UCF Skateboarding Club, have made statements speaking out.
A lot of skating is about like the bond between people regardless of background. We have a lot of immigrant skaters, a lot of LGBT skaters, non-white skaters, et cetera, and ICE poses a threat to that community. So it stands to kind of divide us rather than like bring us together for the one thing that we all share in common, skateboarding. I don't think ICE is making our community safer. I think they're actually doing the opposite. They're making them more dangerous, resulting in people getting injured, people getting harmed, people's families being separated. I think that they are doing nothing to help our communities, and ICE should be abolished.
For now, protests are set to continue. In Orlando, for the Charge on Air, Nick Cohen. In fact, there's an ICE Out of Orlando protest scheduled to take place tomorrow, January 31st. It's scheduled from noon to 3 at the southwest corner of Fashion Square and East Colonial Drive.
The Florida Highway Patrol is warning student drivers to stay safe ahead of a historic freeze. I had the opportunity to ask the agency how students can make sure they stay safe on the roads. As student drivers turn up the heat ahead of a historic freeze, there's growing concern over safety on the roads.
I haven't driven in the snow, and I think driving in the snow would be like I know you need some special tires for that.
Florida Highway Patrol Trooper Abdelmessih Garcia says the light snow flurries in some forecast models are not the major concern.
Something that can happen is something called black ice on these roadways, meaning it's just a layer of ice that you can't really see it.
Icy roads cause more than 150,000 crashes a year, according to the Federal Highway Administration.
People are losing control and they're crashing into the barriers on the highways.
Another concern is here at the tire, because as the temperature drops, so can that tire pressure, which is even more dangerous in the cold.
Make sure that your vehicle is prepared to face all the changes in the road with this cold weather.
Abdelmessih says the best advice is just to stay home. And if you need to travel,
definitely slow down. Leave room in front of you because it will take more time for your vehicles to brake.
Agrashan says he's making plans to stay indoors.
The place I rent, they don't have the heater like really high, so I'm gonna get my own heater.
In Orlando, Shane Winsten, the Charge on Air. Now, troopers also want to remind drivers to stay free from distractions while out on the road. If you are driving and need emergency assistance, you can dial star 347 to contact FHP.
While many students are bundling up and opting to stay inside amidst frigid Orlando temperatures, some found a way to jazz up a normal weeknight. UCF's Jazz Workshop Group held their first chamber concert of the semester in the university's rehearsal hall on Tuesday evening. Both groups are made up of UCF juniors and seniors who entertained the crowd with tunes from famous jazz artists like Thelonious Monk and Sonny Rollins. UCF jazz instructor Richard Drexler teaches one of the workshop groups. He says that the music you hear at these concerts is on a level that is very close to that of famous jazz musicians.
Is on a level that's very close to what you would hear if you're hearing famous, internationally known jazz musicians in a jazz club, where you're going to have to pay a lot of money.
Tuesday's performance was the 5th show the two workshops have held since 2025. 4 took place last fall. For more information about UCF's jazz ensembles and upcoming UCF jazz events, you can head to cah.ucf.edu.
We have some breaking news on our Space Coast. NASA says it is delaying the wet dress rehearsal for Artemis 2 for concerns over the weather. I want to take you out to a live look at Artemis 2 on the historic launch pad 39B. The fuel testing was originally scheduled for tomorrow night, but NASA is pushing it back to Monday. NASA officials say the outside temperature can't be below 40 degrees for more than 30 minutes when fueling. This also means the earliest the Artemis 2 mission could lift off is next Sunday. And I know a lot of people here at UCF are looking forward to that mission, myself included, being raised on the Space Coast, but that weather spanning all the way from the Space Coast to the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that weather is no joke, guys. It's going to be freezing this week. Let's go ahead and take it the current conditions for right now in Orlando. Not so bad outside. We're at 69 degrees, but again, that's not going to be the normal this weekend. We're looking at freezing cold temperatures. We're going to have more on that in a little bit, but thankfully, no precipitation today, only a slight breeze. So again, if you're going to go outside, this is probably your last chance for the weekend before it gets really, really ugly.
Thanks for the update, John. Coming up, Iranian UCF students took to the student union on Tuesday to raise awareness against the current Iranian regime.
Plus, we investigate why fewer people are taking flu shots.
Don't touch that mouse. We'll be right back.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.
Okay.
And we'd never babysit with a screen. We said we'd never let the toys take over.
Mariella!
Never leave the house looking, well, and never let them out of our sight.
Skylar, come here.
Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
At school, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
Sometimes I can't believe that you could be proud of me if I'm not proud of myself.
It just was hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
Think of our best times together. Let's do more of that.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
We're in the middle of flu season, and the rate of vaccinations continues to decline. CDC data shows the overall number of influenza vaccines distributed is at its lowest since 2019. Over the past year, Florida is one of 3 states with the lowest percentage of adults receiving a flu shot, just 33%. UCF is doing its part by offering influenza shots at student health services. All you need is your UCF ID and insurance card. The department accepts walk-ins Monday through Friday until 4:30.
It's the new year, and with it comes new goals. A common one, getting in shape. Gyms are seeing new visitors across the country. Charge On Air reporter Diego Ortiz is looking into how that impacts the RWC here at UCF.
It's the start of the new year, and with more gyms across the country seeing new visitors, the UCF Recreation and Wellness Center is no different.
At the beginning of this semester, definitely like the first, second week of school, anywhere from like 4 to 7 p.m., it's just people everywhere. We love to see it. We always encourage everyone to come in, and we just love to see everyone here. But during fall, there's definitely like, I'd say around midterms is when we kind of see a lull.
Now, you might notice some extra foot traffic here at the RWC to start the semester, and that's because getting in shape is one of, if not the most common New Year's resolution. About half of the adults in America say that in the new year they want to get in shape, according to healthandfitness.org.
It's definitely more packed, especially during like the beginning of the school semester when everyone's kind of going through like their like kind of like the easier material before they get into like the harder stuff. You definitely see a lot more people in there, people trying to make themselves better, especially after the new year too. Everyone's New Year's resolution. So definitely more people, but you just got to know how to work the gym. You got to know when you're working with people, kind of know when something's going to open up. So. Yeah.
If you avidly go to the RWC now, you'll likely see a lot of other people, but if you remain consistent throughout the semester, that number will likely go down. In Orlando, Diego Ortiz, The Charge On Air.
The RWC hours vary by day, so you should check the website before arriving.
Coming up, we'll hear from our partners at Embry-Riddle about the Arctic cold and how it's expected to develop across the nation.
Plus, weather anchor John Warner will tell us about the chill here in Florida and what we should expect. Stay with us.
Okay, Dad, look at you.
I look nice, don't I?
I see you.
Adding your own flavor to fashion comes with age.
Oh, man, that's the best one yet.
Forgetting how to add doesn't. Finding it difficult to work with numbers may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Dad, are you okay?
An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one.
High school. Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Do you want to talk about what happened earlier?
Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's. Some things come with age. Some others don't. The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Food can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
A major Arctic blast is rocking most of the country. Let's check in with student meteorologist Brianne Weathers from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for a look at the national forecast.
Story over this weekend has to do with our jet stream pattern right now, where there is a ridge over the west coast and a trough over the east coast, where the west coast is going to be expecting to see temperate weather, but the east coast is going to be seeing the frigid temperatures and wintry precipitation. As for the west coast, though, they do have this band of moisture that's coming across right now for Oregon and Washington State, but the big story again is on the east coast, where there is going to be potentially record-breaking temperatures for the southeast as well as up into New England, but overall well below average temperatures due to this dip in the jet stream and that trough, also bringing in some high wind potentials for those states. Along with the high wind and the cold, there is also going to be wintry precipitation, snow headed for those states. The Carolinas expected to see the biggest amounts of snow potential for the weekend, all due to this jet stream pattern. But more on those frigid temperatures, back to you at UCF.
Very odd Florida weather this week. I mean, normally in Florida, we're used to raining and then sweating within the span of 20 minutes. But this week, one second, it feels like Antarctica, and then the next, it's just raining.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of the cold. I'm from up north, New York, and I like the cold. I don't want to deal with the heat. I'm happy when it's this cold. I just put on some layers and feel good outside. All right, let's check in with student reporter John Warner to see the week's upcoming temperatures. John?
Thank you very much, Shane. Yeah, you and I could not be more different. I would rather it be 1,000 degrees and sunny than 50 degrees and overcast, because I do not like the cold. That is not in my blood. And I think a lot of the Floridians would feel the same. Right now, luckily, not too terrible around the state. Definitely a little bit chillier up north towards Gainesville, 65, 66 on the Palm Coast. Moving down south towards the Space Coast in Melbourne, that's going to be your best bet for a beach day today. Right around 70, going to get into the low 70s there today. Pretty mild temperature around the rest of the state. We're looking at 69 on campus and in downtown Orlando, 68 on the Gulf side in Tampa. So it's just kind of that weird time of year where you don't really know how to dress. You leave the house in a sweatshirt, a hoodie, sweatpants, you're all bundled up, and then by the afternoon you're sweating because it's so hot outside. But hey, that's what makes Florida so great, right? Let's go and have a look at the upcoming 5-day forecast. So, like you alluded to earlier, Shane, that winter storm is coming, and it is coming for Central Florida as well. Tomorrow, we're going to start to feel the first effects of that. Lows in the 30s, that's right, below freezing in Florida. It is happening. You're going to get a little bit of a reprieve, high in the 56 range on Saturday, but moving ahead to Sunday, that's going to be the worst of the worst. Our low right now is forecasted to be 24 degrees with a feels like temperature of just 9. We're going to be in the single digits, and I don't think I've ever even felt weather that cold my entire life, so I am not looking forward to that day, needless to say. On Monday, we're going to start to get just a little bit better, and I mean a little bit better. Our low increases to a toasty 29, and we're going to get up to 55 with the high. Tuesday, we're starting to come out of it. We're back into the habitual zone for Floridians. 64 the high, but still a really cold low, 36. And on Wednesday, I think we're getting kind of back to normal for this time of year. Nice 71 degrees. That's going to feel great after a weekend plus of really, really cold weather. The silver lining here is that there's no chance of precipitation. So for those that had dreams of snow and a white February in Florida, I don't think that's going to be happening. But it's going to be really, really, really cold. So that's what's coming up for your 5-day forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Yeah, that Sunday 24 degrees. I like cold, but that's really, really cold.
Yeah, like I said, I like you said, the cold, but like we could bump it up a little bit. Can we take the thermostat, just like dial it up just a little bit, and then we're good by my book.
Absolutely. Now, freezing temperatures are sweeping the nation, and unlike normal, Central Florida is not exempt. Students at UCF are feeling the cold too. You can see students bundled up in hoodies, jackets, and sweatpants. Pierce Vetri is a mechanical engineering student at UCF. His grandparents still live up north in Boston, and he says he is definitely worried about them. Right now, the projected low in Orlando this Sunday is a frosty 24 degrees with a feels-like temperature of just 9 degrees. This may be the coldest ever recorded Orlando temperature to start February. The previous low is 28 degrees.
Woohoo! Oh,
I know,
no,
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
no,
again, that's very, very cold.
Yeah, there's cold, and then there's ice cold, and that's not it for me.
I don't know if I'm built for that, but UCF men's tennis has officially matched the highest ranking in program history. Now they prepare to face in-state rival, the 19th ranked Florida Gators.
Plus, UCF football head coach Scott Frost recaps his first transfer portal since last season.
Slam dunk after a thrilling win over Arizona. Men's basketball for another challenge against 11th-ranked Texas Tech.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Those 9 months were also 273 days of planning. What about your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. And let's not forget those barbecues you plan in detail for your family and your more vegetarian by the day best friends. That surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Happy Friday nights. Hope you're staying warm out there. My name is Andrew Cherico, and I'm here to give you the latest on UCF sports. UCF men's basketball is off to a historic start this season with a 16-4 record overall and a 5-3 record in conference play. Their recent win came against Arizona State. The Knights came back to win a nail-biting game to defeat the Sun Devils on Tuesday night. Now they prepare to take on number 11 ranked Texas Tech on Saturday. After defeating Arizona State, Knights head coach Johnny Dawkins says the Red Raiders are a very talented team and that UCF needs to continue getting better night in and night out in order to compete on a nightly basis.
Try to improve in every facet. I don't think that, we are who we are. I think this team does have room to still, get better. And I want us to take that approach throughout the rest of the season. I think these young men aren't finished products.
UCF tips off against Texas Tech at noon on Saturday at noon inside Addition Financial Arena. Tickets can be claimed off of your student email. UCF men's tennis is turning heads nationwide. The Knights are ranked 9th in the country, matching the highest ranking in program history. And now the team will look to take on an in-state rival in the Florida Gators. UCF men's tennis continues its impressive start this season with a 6-0 record. Head coach Lloyd Bruce Burgess says the success comes from a culture built on grit and attention to detail. That mindset will be put to the test as UCF prepares for a high-stakes in-state matchup against the 19th-ranked UF Gators.
Big one for us. Before we took over here, we were 0-23 against the Gators, and we've won the last two, both in the NCAA tournament. So I know they are really looking to beat us. They obviously don't like losing to us. The expectation at the University of Florida is that you don't lose to UCF, and we've now created an expectation here at UCF men's tennis that we don't lose to the Florida Gators.
The top 20 showdown will determine one of the best in Florida. The Knights host the Gators on Sunday morning at the USTA National Campus. UCF football has added 30 new players to its roster this offseason, less than half the amount from last year. Charge on Air reporter Kimani Brown spoke with UCF football head coach Scott Frost and general manager Trent Mosbrucker on the new recruits and what it means for next season.
UCF has gained about 30 new Knights this offseason. Head coach Scott Frost and general manager of player personnel, Trent Mossbrucker, gave time to speak today about what these changes could mean for the impact on this UCF football team.
Then you start to hear coaching rumors, and if a coach leaves somewhere, then you start to identify people on their roster. So I think that's how Alonzo kind of came up. You know, they're having a great year, kind of chugging along there. Rumors came up that his head coach may leave, so now he becomes a guy that's on your radar. Now you can go back and watch all the games that he played and feel very comfortable about that. And I think you do that with a lot of people.
Barely a position on the team where I feel like we didn't get better. Excited about the guys up front that we brought in on the O-line, experienced group. I got to watch them play a lot, watching tape. Really excited about the running backs.
All the national focus on transfer portal moves, Coach Frost still spoke about his ideas on high school recruitment.
We're going to look for Florida kids. We're going to continue to recruit high school kids, but it's got to be the right guys that fit us from a character standpoint, and it's got to make sense. And we're really looking for guys that we can develop and get to know down here and build to try to make the core of our team guys that we get to spend a lot of time with.
Coach Frost and Mossbrucker are ready to get the chemistry rolling with the new UCF team. From Orlando, this is Kimani Brown, The Charge on air.
With next season's schedule released, the Knights seem confident their new roster will compete at a high level. Now, that's all the time I have now for football, guys. But I want to ask, football season so far away from now. We are in UCF men's basketball territory. The team is trending in the right direction, 16-4 overall. As I mentioned before, 5-3 in conference play. Nick, I want to ask you, with 10 games to go, is this team going to make the tournament?
I mean, that's kind of a loaded question. Playing in the Big 12, so many ranked teams. I would say the best conference for basketball. However, the teams looked really, really good. I want to be optimistic and say yes. Shane, do you agree?
So what I'm looking for from UCF, there's about a 4-game stretch in February where we start on the road with Cincinnati and we end with Utah. If we could win 3 or 4 of those games, I think we'll be in really good shape. Now, looking at some of the bracketology of how it's playing out right now, I'm seeing could be ESPN has us as a 9 seed. Texas A&M is an 8 seed. Don't get me started on that. We beat them. Our worst loss, Oklahoma State, also beat them. So we won't go there. But I think the team is really optimistic. They got to lean on what they are as a team. If they're not hitting the threes, we saw that in the Arizona State game. Eventually, it was 2 threes that really sealed the game, but they just got in the paint and started scoring. And then going back to the 3, Jordan Burks and Carmelo Pacheco, 2 guys we know can shoot the 3. But we'll see how it plays out this weekend.
Absolutely. Now, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on thechargenews.com.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day, Knights.